Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing and molesting. I like that with the latest Audacity update, it remembers the recording level of the microphone. It used to not do that. Do you give a shit? You don't really give a shit about Audacity and recording levels and shit like that, do you? This is just me doing the sound check. But because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna let it fucking roll.
You can scream and shout with all your might.
Oh, you can scream, shout, whine, cry, snivel, piss, and moan.
Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
You can shove your opinion up your ass. That way Obama's cock has something to keep it company.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
Yes! Don't forget, the ever-present, most likely third possibility, you are wrong and I am right. That's how we roll here. And where is here, you ask? Here is out there on the internet, out there in the interwebs, out there in that series of tubes where the Cynical Libertarian Society website lives. And this is Stating the Obvious podcast, the weapons platform from which I launch the badass motherfucking pimped out cruise missile of my intellect. It's got fucking little dingo balls hanging on it. That's how motherfucking, it's got some fucking hubcaps. It's got the lights underneath it. That's how pimped out my motherfucking cruise missile is. I launched the cruise missile of my intellect. It homes in on, it destroys dumbass motherfuckers out there. And there's so many of them. There's so many dumbass motherfuckers out there. Ah, Jesus Christ, they're everywhere. Jesus Christ on a stick, people. I am the Great One himself, Cynical Libertarian Society, CYNLIBSOC.com. I'm hanging out here. Now, this is a continuation of the previous edition of Stating the Obvious, and I'm not going through the intro again. But if you didn't listen to the previous edition, you need to do that. I'm going to be picking up. Again, I'm here on my own. I have no adult supervision. Randy is not here to keep an eye on me. I'm going to be going through this pile of stuff on the floor, pulling some stuff out. I also, just a few minutes ago, got a comment on one of my YouTube videos about some idiot, or by some idiot, whining about Somalia and how if there's no government to give people their rights, then the strong will rule the world, and all this shit which has been debunked over and over in Libertarianism 101. And it just goes to show that people on YouTube are, of all the social medias out there, Facebook, MySpace, Snapchat, Friction, Twitter, whatever, of all the social media places in the universe, the people on YouTube are by far the stupidest ones. Almost every YouTube comment I get is from someone who is a complete fucking moron. I think I've only had 2 commenters in the history of my YouTube channel that were not total morons. And I don't respond to them, and I don't put a lot of effort into the Cynical Libertarian Society YouTube channel simply because I know that at some point the channel's going to get shut down. Some femistatist is going to complain to YouTube about offended, blah, 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 whatever, and it's going to get shut down and taken off. And that's why I don't put a whole lot of effort into maintaining it, because I just don't see the point. Speaking of things I don't see the point on, I'm hanging out. I got my phone here. I'm doing interesting. I'm taking a look through Tinder right this moment. And yeah, looking at some of these ugly chicks. You're just like live Tindering with me. See, because this way I can make some commentary, because I want to piss off the feminist. Girls, here's another thing. All of this metal stuck in your face, this does not make you attractive. I'm rejecting you. Here's another thing. Pictures of you at sports games acting like a retard. It's not attractive. Pictures of you with way too much fucking makeup on. Not attractive. We're rejecting her. Here's somebody named Brenna. Let's see. Yep. Yep. They say they're athletic, but there's no pictures of their body. That tells me they're fat. You're giving it away. Okay, what do we got here? Here's Allison. Allison's kind of cute. Yeah. Yeah, all right, Allison's cute. We'll give it to Allison. Here's Brianna. Let's check out Brianna. Ooh. All right, Brianna's a hottie. We'll give Brianna a little heart. Here's Emily. See, Emily's got the fake mustache. Girls, the fake mustache thing, I don't know what it is with girls and mustaches. Well, actually, I do. I have some theories on this, and I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming edition of Stating the Obvious, so I'm going to save it. But girls, mustaches are not attractive, okay? You're a girl. Having hair on your upper lip does not make you attractive to men. I know that this is shocking information to you, but it's true, and somebody needs to tell you, and I'm that somebody. I'm the one who's telling you this. That's what I'm here for, is to just be honest with you, because somebody needs to be honest with you. It's for your own fucking good. All right, I'm going to pause this, and I will be back with some material as soon as I pull something out of the pile. Yes. Yes. The smartest generation ever. Okay. Associated Press article. A security guard on the lookout for shoplifters searched two teenage girls as they left a Manhattan lingerie shop Thursday afternoon and discovered one of them was carrying a fetus in her bag, police said. The 17-year-old girls were shopping at a Victoria's Secret store in Midtown Manhattan, said the police, who were called to the scene after a guard noticed a strong odor coming from one of the bags and found the fetus. One of the girls told detectives she was carrying the human remains because she had delivered a day earlier and didn't know what to do. Smartest generation ever. A fetus came out of my diseased coochie, and I don't know what to do. I have a cell phone. I have Google. I'm an upper middle class white girl who can afford to shop at Victoria's Secret. A fetus came out of her pussy. And she put it in a shopping bag and took it to Victoria's Secret. This is the smartest generation ever. I've talked in the past about inflation, about fiat currency, about how you stupid people don't understand that money isn't worth anything. This is from 75 years ago. These are the prices of items 75 years ago. And this will illustrate, keep in mind, as I tell you about these prices, keep in mind that items have become cheaper to produce thanks to modern technology, and yet they cost more. Ladies' ribbed cotton hose, 10 cents a pair. Women's stitched down Oxfords, 88 cents. Men's shirts and shorts, 15 cents. Can you imagine buying a men's shirt for 15 cents? A men's shirt nowadays is like $20, $25 for a cheap one. And they're made by a goddamn machine. Men's dress shirts, 55 cents. Children's anklets, I'm not even sure what an anklet is, 9 cents a pair. 36-inch fast color print dresses, 10 cents per yard. Didn't know you sold colored dress. Oh no, dress prints, not dresses. Not like a dress like you wear. A dress print, 10 cents a yard. A men's dress shirt for 55 cents. 75 years ago. Now a dress shirt, a cheap one, is $30. Do you people not understand that money, quote unquote money, fiat currency, the dollar, that kind of money, has no fucking value? And you're being constantly robbed of value by inflation. Astronomers say asteroid could hit Earth in 2032. Blah, blah, blah. Space watchers from the observatory in the Crimean Peninsula said they discovered an asteroid about 1,345 feet in diameter, which they call 2013 TV135. That is approaching Earth at a potentially dangerous trajectory. The astronomers calculated the date of a potential collision as August 26th, 2032, the news service said, but acknowledged that the odds of an impact are 1 in 63,000. But of course, it's never too early to start terrifying people, right? Because by the year 2030, by that time, I'm pretty sure most people, except the most die-hard religious fanatics, will have figured out that there's no such thing as global warming. And so we're going to need some kind of new potential catastrophe to replace global warming with. Something else that's going to end all life on Earth unless people start paying more taxes and give up more of their freedom. So maybe this is going to be it. That asteroid is coming for us. Oh, be afraid. Be very, very, very afraid. Because your masters like you when you're afraid. Slaves who are afraid are slaves that are easier to control. Speaking of disasters, let's talk about Messiah Care. This article here says that more than 1 million Texans will be left without any healthcare benefits or coverage because the state chose not to expand Medicaid eligibility requirements. The analysis by Kaiser Family Foundation found that 1,046,430 uninsured adults in Texas will earn too much money to qualify for Medicaid benefits, but too little to get tax credits through the health insurance marketplace. As a result, these Texans, amounting to 27% of the state's uninsured adults who are not elderly or disabled, will fall into the coverage gap, meaning the Affordable Care Act will not help them in any way. Now, I'm really fucking baffled by this. How can the Affordable Health Care Act, aka Messiah Care, not help them? It forces you to buy insurance. They have to go buy insurance. How can they fall through the crack? I don't get it. The whole point of Obamacare, of Messiah Care, of the Affordable Health Care Act was that free health care was going to fall out of the sky and everybody was going to magically have health care. The law forces everybody at the point of a gun to go buy health insurance. How can there be people who don't have health insurance if you're forced to buy health insurance? Unless, of course, Messiah Care doesn't fucking work. Kind of like the Messiah Care website doesn't fucking work. This idiot that I know put this thing on the Facebook the other day, referencing a blog post that he wrote about how we shouldn't be upset about the Messiah Care website not working because usually websites don't ever work right to begin with, and it takes a while to figure them out. It just amazes me how you people continue to always make excuses for the government, right? Well, Messiah Care's not working out, but they're trying. Well, the NSA is listening to everybody's phone calls, but they're not really listening to everybody's phone calls, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, it just amazes me. It amazes me. It doesn't amaze me because I expect it, but it does amaze me the way your tiny little fucking hamster wheels can crank and do this hamster logic that allows you to justify this kind of stupid shit. I mean, Messiah Care forces people to buy health insurance. How can there be people who don't have health insurance? And if there are going to be people who don't have health insurance, what the fuck was the point of Messiah Care? Oh yeah, the point of Messiah Care was to transfer money from people who work for a living to the health insurance organizations, to the health insurance corporations. It was essentially a bailout of the health insurance corporations. I wonder who it was that said that before. I think I heard that on a podcast somewhere. I think it was this one asshole. He does this podcast called Stating the Obvious. And I think he said multiple fucking times in the past that Messiah Care was simply a thinly veiled bailout for the health insurance corporations. But that you stupid people would support it anyway because Obama is black and because you believe that free healthcare will actually fall out of the sky. And of course, there's all the stories of all the people whose health insurance rates are going up and who are losing their health insurance because the Messiah said, if you like your health insurance, you can keep it. And of course, all of these are dismissed because that's just propaganda. Those aren't real. Everybody knows Messiah Care has saved the universe. I wonder if Messiah Care will cover asteroid impact. The world is barreling towards a relentless increase in global warming that, within just a few years, will be impossible to come back from, according to researchers from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Meanwhile, on the very same page, a freak autumn blizzard killed tens of thousands of cattle in South Dakota this month as they were still in their summer pastures and had not grown their winter coats. Freezing rain was followed up by up to 4 feet of snow, which was blown at near hurricane force and became lodged in some of the animals' lungs, suffocating them. Because, of course, when the temperatures go up, you get more snow. Speaking of dead animals, all right, here we go. Coming soon, roadkill app for smartphones. Salvaging roadkill for dinner. Salvaging roadkill for the dinner table is not only legal starting this month in Montana, but state officials plan to let drivers who accidentally kill big game to simply print out permits at home and allow them to harvest the meat. Here's a question. How does the government own roadkill? For those of you who don't grasp statism, think about this. How does the government own all the animals? Why do you need permission from the government to own, and you do, to own an animal? If you want a cat or a dog, you have to get a fucking tag from the government. If you want cows, you have to get permission from the government. Horses, permission from the government. If you want to go out and hunt an animal, kill it and eat it, you need permission from the government. If you fucking hit an animal with your car and accidentally kill it, you have to get permission from the government. How exactly did we arrive at this state where the government owns all the animals? Well, I know how we got there. We got there because of statism. I suppose my real question is, how can those of you who are statist be this fucking stupid? I would love for you to come to me and logically explain to me with your little hamster wheel, how about does the government own all of the animal life? There's a giant, huge shit ton of stupidity out there. And some of that stupidity looks like this. Those of you who believe the criminal justice industrial complex serves some kind of legitimate purpose and does so effectively, efficiently, and of course with quote-unquote justice. What I've got here is an excerpt from the Houston Chronicle. This is about people who went to prison for crimes they did not commit, who were found guilty by the criminal justice industrial complex that you fuckers out there worship so much. And the reasons before it. Here we have Timothy Cole. He was convicted of the rape of a 24-year-old Texas Tech student on March 24th, 1985. He was sentenced to 25 years. He was exonerated in 2009. He died in prison in 1999 after serving 13 years. Why did he go to prison? Mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence. Michael Morton. He was convicted of the murder of his wife in 1986. He was sentenced to life. He was exonerated in 2011. He served 24 years. Contributing factor to why he went to prison for a crime he didn't commit? Official misconduct. In other words, the police, the prosecutors, or the government officials abused their authority and the judicial process in such a manner as to make sure he went to prison. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're all saying. Well, these are just individual cases. Most people who go to prison deserve it. You know, it's like saying, well, but the women who get raped, those are just individual cases. I mean, most women don't get raped. Even if you believe the inflated statistic, which isn't true, that 1 in 4 women get raped, most women don't get raped. So what's the big deal, right? Most women don't get raped. If most people who go to prison, so most people who went to prison, you mean they really did have some marijuana in their pocket and so they went to prison and it's okay. I need you to fucking think. I need you to try. I need you to fucking open the cage in your brain and take the fucking hamster out of the wheel and put the hamster on the ground and let the hamster travel in a linear direction instead of just around and around the little fucking hamster wheel. Gregory Wallace. He was convicted of sexual assault, sentenced to 50 years. Exonerated in 2007. He served 17 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, perjury, or false accusation. His request for a DNA test was finally accepted in 2005. He had to request a DNA test, and they finally did it in 2005. And through the use of the cigarette butts found at the crime scene and the rape kit, Wallace was confirmed innocent. Richard Miles, convicted of the murder and attempted murder of 2 men in a car at a Dallas gas station, sentenced to 60 years, exonerated 2012. He served 15 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence, official misconduct. Richard Rachel, convicted sexual abuse of a child in Houston, 2002. Sentence 40 years. Exonerated 2009. Served 6 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, official misconduct. Stephen Phillips, convicted of raping a woman in Dallas, 1982. Sentenced to 40 years. Exonerated 2008. Served 25 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, official misconduct. Alan Wayne Portner, convicted of the rape of a woman during a home invasion in Houston, 1990. Sentenced to life. Exonerated 2010. Served 19 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID. You know, I've talked about this before, and I've talked about the video series you can get. It's called Brain Games, and there's plenty of other books about this too. The one I'm reading right now about being wrong, which I've been reading for a long time. I started it. I haven't been able to get back to it. And there's lots of other sources. Human memory is very fallible. We think that we can recognize the person that did something, was someplace, went somewhere, walked through the room, whatever. A large amount of the time, we can't. Okay, and that's why you're seeing all of this shit in here. You're hearing all of this shit as I read it to you about mistaken witness ID. All right. George Rodriguez, convicted of sexual abuse and kidnapping of a child in Houston, 1987. Sentenced to 60 years. Exonerated 2005. Served 17 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence. Michael Green, convicted of sexual assault. Sentence 75 years. Exonerated 2010. Served 27 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, official misconduct. By the way, for those of you who like to play the race card all the time, I'll also point out that of the people in this, actually, many of them are black. There's a picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's 14 black guys, 1 black woman, 1, 2, 3 guys that I would say are definitely white boys. 1 guy that I would definitely say is Mexican, or I think the politically correct word is Hispanic. 1 guy that I think is probably Mexican, and another guy I think is probably Mexican. But the point is, this is mostly black men who have gotten fucked over by official misconduct and mistaken witness ID, right? And false or misleading forensic evidence. This is mostly black men who have been fucked over by these things. So if you want to play your little fucking race card, instead of playing your race card when I point out that Messiah Care is a fucking failure, try playing your race card when black people are being put into penitentiaries for rapes and murders that they didn't commit. Why don't you give a fuck about that? Get Hussein Obama's cock out of your mouth and get your head out of your ass. Cornelius Dupree Jr., convicted of sexual assault and robbery in Dallas, 1979. Sentenced to 75 years. Exonerated 2011. Served 30 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID. Kevin Bird, convicted of sexual assault in Houston, 1985. Sentenced to life. Exonerated 1997. Served 12 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence. Johnny Lindsay, Convicted of the rape of a 27-year-old woman near White Rock Lake in Dallas, 1981. Sentenced to life, exonerated 2009, served 26 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID. The victim, a white woman, told the police she had been raped by a black, shirtless man in his 20s. A rape kit was collected from her at the hospital, but she was unable to identify anyone in two photo lineups in the days after the rape. A year went by. The woman had moved to San Antonio, where she was contacted by Dallas police, who sent her photos of 6 men. 2 of them were shirtless. One of them was Lindsay. Well, it must have been him. The guy who raped me didn't have a shirt on, and this guy didn't have a shirt on. And they're black people. They all look alike. So, gosh, it must have been this guy, because he doesn't have a shirt on, just like the guy who raped me. I mean, this is fucking woman logic here. You fucking whores, just shut the fuck up. Okay, here we go. The woman picked Lindsay. He was convicted despite testimony from his boss that he was at work at the time of the crime, and despite the fact that his time card showed him to be there. But hey, he was a black man, she was a white woman, he didn't have a shirt on. Fuck the evidence. We're too busy playing the race card when somebody criticizes Hussein Obama, the most powerful man on the planet Earth. Oh, if you criticize his Lord and Savior, King Hussein Obama, oh, we're gonna fucking race card the shit out of you. But when we put black people in prison for crimes they didn't commit because they're black and they don't have a shirt on in a picture, well, fuck that. We're not going to pay attention to that. No, because we're race card playing fucking statist motherfuckers. You people out there are pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. And you support this shit. Those of you who are statist, this is what you support. You willingly, openly support this. You need this. You buy into this. This is what you want. Anthony Robinson, convicted of sexual assault of a University of Houston student, 1986. Sentenced 27 years. Exonerated 2000. Served 10 years. Contributing factor, mistaken witness ID. Josiah Sutton, convicted of sexual assault and kidnapping in Houston, 1998. Sentenced to 25 years. Exonerated 2004. Served 4.5 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence. Roy Kreiner, convicted of rape and murder of a 16-year-old Deanna Ogue in Montgomery County, 1986. Sentenced 99 years. Exonerated 2000. Served 10 years. Contributing factors: false or misleading forensic evidence, official misconduct. Keith Turner, convicted of sexual assault in Dallas, 1982. Sentenced to 20 years. Exonerated 2005. Served 4 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID. Anthony Graves, convicted of the 1992 murder of 6 people in Somerville. Sentenced to death. Exonerated 2010. Served 18 years. Contributing factors: false or misleading forensic evidence, perjury or false accusation, official misconduct. But hey, he was black, and some people died. I'll bet money those 6 people were white people. I had to put somebody away. Joyce Ann Brown, convicted of the robbery and murder of Dallas First Store owner Reuben Danziger in 1980. Sentenced to life. Exonerated 1990. She served 9 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, perjury or false accusation, official misconduct. Carlos Lavernia, Lavernia, convicted of sexual assault of a 24-year-old woman jogging along Barton Creek in Austin, 1983. Sentenced 99 years without parole. Exonerated 2000. Served 15 years. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, false or misleading forensic evidence. By sheer happenstance, an envelope containing the victim's shorts and vaginal swabs had not been destroyed along with the rest of the evidence in the case, and DNA testing cleared Lavina. Yes, because whenever you have a rape case, you should always destroy the evidence. That's always really convenient when you're trying to put somebody in prison who didn't actually commit the crime. If you have any actual evidence that might help to indicate that the person you're trying to put in prison didn't commit the crime, you should always destroy the evidence. Isn't that wonderful that they happen to find, just by happenstance, just that's what it says. I'm reading this. By sheer happenstance. This is the criminal justice system that you stupid fucking statist cocksuckers out there, that you worship, that you believe in. This is the criminal justice system that you think is out there to protect you from the evil anarcho-capitalists who think that killing people is wrong. Yes, because those anarcho-capitalists, they'd come and kill you. Oh wait, they think killing is wrong, but they kill you because, well, they're dangerous and they're anarchist, and well, the government said so, and the government said the anarcho-capitalists are dangerous, so they must be dangerous because, well, the government wouldn't lie to us. They fucking, by sheer happenstance, an envelope containing the victim's shorts and vaginal swabs had not been destroyed along with the rest of the evidence. Wow. There's your fucking criminal justice system. There's your fucking detective work. James Curtis Gills, convicted of gang rape of a pregnant 18-year-old in a Dallas apartment on August 1st, 1982. He was sentenced to 30 years. He was exonerated in 2007. He served 10 years, paroled in 1993 on probation until 2013, and registered as a sex offender. Contributing factors: mistaken witness ID, official misconduct. Again, the girl was raped. I guarantee she was a white girl. We had to send somebody to prison. This guy had a penis, and he was black. Boom. He must have done it, right? It's obvious. On August 1st, 1982, 3 armed men entered the house of a Dallas couple, robbed the man, and repeatedly raped the woman, who was 5 months pregnant. The next day, the woman named Stanley Bryant as one of her attackers. A Crime Stoppers tip led the police to Giles, who was positively identified by the rape victim in a lineup. In 1984, Bryant pleaded guilty to the attack and said Giles was not one of his accomplices. Post-conviction DNA testing showed that another James Giles, a James Earl Giles, was the attacker. In 2007, Giles was exonerated. So you had the same name, first and last name, as the real rapist, and of course, he was black. Fortunately, maybe they found the girl's panties in a fucking envelope and were able to do some detective work. I don't know. This is your criminal justice system, people. This is what you want. This is what you get. Speaking of the justice system that you're so fond of, 2 New Jersey 14-year-olds who sat on 2 male friends' faces with their bare buttocks because they, quote, thought it was funny, unquote, will spend their lives on the sex offender registry. A state appeals court ruled this week. The court conceded it was harsh to give permanent sex offender status to a teen, but said that Megan's Law, quote, mandated, unquote, that result. I seriously want those of you who are statists to fucking kill yourselves. This is the world you've created. 14-year-old kids who sat on somebody's face with their naked asses because they thought it was funny are now registered sex offenders for the rest of their lives because you fucking statist are incompetent, you're incapable of taking care of yourselves, you're incapable of protecting yourselves, you're so fucking terrified of everything around you that you go to the state, you go to the government, and you have them create these laws and enforce this shit. These kids are going to be fucking sex offenders for the rest of their lives because you are a fucking coward. I want you statists out there. I want you to give me a Christmas present. I want you to fucking kill yourselves. Make the world a better place and kill yourselves. Because according to evolution, those of you who can't defend yourselves and those of you who can't feed yourselves should be dead anyway. Okay? Fucking kill yourselves. That's all I want for Christmas. That and, of course, my 2 front teeth. Remember earlier in this podcast when I talked about the smartest generation ever and putting your fetus into a shopping bag and taking it to Victoria's Secret? The decline of thinking outside the box. While IQ scores are indisputably on the rise, American creativity levels are bottoming out. Analysis of the results of the Torrance test of creative thinking suggests that the creative abilities of American children have been spiraling downward for almost 20 years. The Torrance test analyzes young children's ability to come up with original ideas and put them into practice. Kyung Hee Kim, an assistant professor at the College of William and Mary School of Education, found that scores on the Torrance test taken by children up to the 6th grade between 1968 and 2008 showed a steady decline after 1990. That's a serious issue at a time when creative thinking is among the most desperately needed skills in the American workplace. Actually, it's not true. The only skill you need in the American workplace is obedience to authority. Okay, it's just like the skill you need when you go to the airport to fucking open your suitcase, take your shoes off, and let some stranger touch your penis. It's the only skill you need to stand by while people go to prison for rapes they didn't commit because of official misconduct, perjury, mistaken witnessing, and because the people are black and didn't have a shirt on in a picture. All you need to get by in the statist society where Obamacare provides everything for you and everybody is on welfare and WIC and fucking all this other shit, all you need is obedience. Let me get back to reading this. A recent study found that 85% of employers concerned with hiring creative people said they can't find the right applicants. Kim blamed America's standards-obsessed schools for creating an environment in which creative thinking was not nurtured. Quote, creative students cannot breathe, they are suffocated in school, unquote, she said. Quote, then they become underachievers, unquote. Well, of course they're suffocated in school because school is not there to help people become creative. School is not there to nurture creativity. School is there. Public schools exist to teach people to be smart enough to work in factories, but obedient enough to work in the factories without complaining. College is there to teach people to be smart enough to work in cubicles and obedient enough to do what their corporate overlords tell them to do. I've explained this like 70 fucking times. Now this one beautifully illustrates so much of what's wrong with statist thinking. Listen to this quote. This quote is from Adam Gopnik or some shit in The New Yorker, which tells you all you need to know. It's in The New Yorker. Okay, quote, the reason we don't have beautiful new airports and efficient bullet trains is not that we have inadvertently stumbled upon stumbling blocks. It's that there are considerable numbers of Americans for whom these things are simply symbols of a feared central government, and who would, when they travel, rather sweat in squalor than surrender the money to build a better terminal. They hate fast trains and efficient airports for the same reason that 17th century Protestants hated the beautiful Baroque churches of Rome when they saw them. They were luxurious symbols of an earthly power they despised. Unquote. Wow. Okay. The reason we don't have fast bullet trains and nice airports, though, who has fast bullet trains? Japan and Europe. Japan and Europe are small countries. America, the United States, excuse me, America is the continent. United States is the country we live in. Some of you are fucking stupid and you think you live in a country called America. You don't, you fucking ignorant cocksucking pieces of shit. Focus. Focus. Deep breath. See, this is why I shouldn't do this without Randy here to give me adult supervision. We don't have bullet trains because, first of all, we live in a very large country. Second of all, the government regulations out there make building a bullet train incredibly fucking expensive. Nobody can afford it. But of course we want the government to pay for it because the government only has how much debt? But it's just this fucking unlimited amount of money that just falls out of the sky when the government... So then wait, if the government has all this money that we could build new airports, and we don't need new airports. The airports we have are fine. What we need is when you go to the airport to not have some fucking 18-year-old kid touching your penis and waving a wand over you. Well, that's what we need. Okay, those of us who are quote unquote old remember airports back when airports were efficient. Like when I tell kids these days that you used to be able to go to the airport with your camera and walk around and take pictures and like go out on the tarmac area and take pictures of airplanes and shit, they freak out. They had no idea that shit ever existed. The airports used to be efficient. Airports used to be just fine. It's the government that's fucked them up. Why don't we have fast bullet trains? So what was I going to say? Oh yes, because if the government has all this fucking... How is it the government... We're supposed to build these bullet trains to make this fucking goddamn cocksucking Adam Nopek happy so that he can have his little fucking socialist paradise. Because, there's these Americans who just won't put out the money for this. It's because these are symbols of a feared central government. Oh, and they'd rather sweat in squalor than put out. So if there's all this fucking money to build all these wonderful bullet trains for everybody to use, how come we can't provide Obamacare for everybody? The reason we don't have these fucking bullet trains that you're so in love with is because they cost too fucking much money. And they're not effective. A train only goes down a fucking track. People, believe it or not, the average person, when they're going to travel to another place, doesn't want to go only to the places where the train goes. This is why trains don't fucking work that well, especially in a large area. People want to go where they want to go, not where the train goes. And people want to go when they want to go, not when the train arrives and departs. And I know that you as a statist don't understand this because I guarantee you this guy has his own fucking car. This guy comes and goes when he wants. But it's you little people that should ride the trains. I guarantee you his ass would not get on a fucking train. Okay, let's wrap this up with Obamacare. Obamacare. All right, here we go. Now, this is from 2011. That's how old this pile on my floor is. I'm reading you something from 2011. The mandate is no such thing. Why the big fuss over, quote, the individual mandate, unquote, asked William D. Leach. Under President Obama's health care law, Americans must have health insurance or pay a tax penalty. Critics insist this so-called mandate is unconstitutional because it represents a huge encroachment into Americans' lives. But the word mandate is a misnomer. Quote, no one gets carted off to jail if they fail to buy insurance, unquote. Instead, People who choose not to purchase health insurance, therefore becoming, quote, free riders, unquote, on the healthcare system. Wait, how can you access the healthcare system without insurance? If you don't have insurance, you'll have to pay for your services. How does paying for your healthcare make you a free rider? God damn it! Please, people, please fucking kill yourselves. Okay, they're becoming free riders on the healthcare system. People who choose not to purchase health insurance, therefore becoming free riders on the healthcare system, will pay about $695 in additional federal taxes. What's so shocking about that? Well, if you don't pay those taxes, you will be, quote, carted off to jail. To sit here and say that people who don't buy insurance aren't going to be carted to jail, of course you will. If you don't buy insurance and you don't pay taxes, don't pay the additional taxes, you will be taken to jail. That's what the fucking law is. What's so shocking about that? It's entirely commonplace for the government to use the tax code to reward or penalize people for their marketplace decisions. Okay, that doesn't make it right. It's completely commonplace for women to be raped by men. It must be okay then. What's the big deal, right? It's entirely commonplace. It's entirely commonplace for black men who had their pictures taken without a shirt on to go to jail for rapes they didn't commit. This is entirely commonplace. What's the big deal? Americans who buy their own homes get a big tax break, and they shouldn't, while those who rent are in effect penalized for choosing not to buy. A taxpayer is rewarded for buying a hybrid cars, for having children, for making charitable contributions. He shouldn't be rewarded for those. There should be no tax code. He's heavily taxed for smoking and buying gasoline. Are those mandates? Yes, they are, because if you don't pay the taxes, you go to jail. Those are mandates. No, people who don't purchase health insurance, quote, impose unfair cost, unquote, on the rest of us, and the new law simply taxes them for this selfish choice. Jesus fucking H. Christ on a stick. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Taxes are not a mandate. If you don't pay taxes, you won't go to jail. Really? 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 Wait, really is not a punchline. That's a good video by Maddox. You should check that out. No, taxes are a mandate. If you don't pay taxes, you will fucking go to jail. Fuck me.